On the day Marcus Octavius left office, he walked out of the forum on his own feet. No one touched him. That was what people remembered. 133 BC. The forum. This is Roman Knights. We go back. We listen. We stay a while. 4 months earlier. He is a tribune of the people. He has a law. The forum is cold before dawn. Chapter 1. Certainty in an empty room. The forum before dawn holds its cold. Old stone. The Tiber below. The smell of mud in the night, the hills sent down. It reaches the square before the light does. Before the grain sellers. Before the first lawyers crossing the square with their tablets. Tiberius is already here. He comes before any of this. Before the city decides to be the city again. He stands at the edge of the speaking area and looks at the empty square. He does this some mornings, when he has something to decide that he has not yet decided. The forum before anyone is in it is a different place from the forum in use. Quieter, obviously, but also more honest. The stones say nothing. The columns say nothing. The square simply is. He has been a tribune for 3 months. The law is written. He has checked the numbers 4 times this. Wait, the numbers do not change. He keeps checking because checking is what he does when the outcome is certain. The weight of it is not yet settled. He counts the exits. 3. The passage behind the temple of Saturn. The way past the rostra. The narrow gap on the far left. He always includes all. 3. Numantia. Old habit from the camps. He has tried to stop. He comes to the forum and he counts the exits and then he thinks about something else. He does not stop. He has stopped trying to stop. The morning smells of wet stone and the river and something far. Rain that has not arrived. He breathes it. Today the law goes to the assembly for its first reading. He believes the law is right. He has believed this since Etruria. He still believes it. He has checked the numbers. The numbers are right. They say the same thing they said in Etruria. The same thing they said at Civilis' table. He goes back to counting. The night before, Marcus Octavius read the law again. Not the agrarian law. The older one. The provision that gives every tribune the right to say no. Any measure before the assembly. Any measure, without exception, without qualification. The provision is 1 paragraph. He has it memorized. He has had it memorized since his first year as tribune. He read it aloud. In his study. At the small table where he works. After his household is asleep. The lamp was low. He did not raise. He read the provision the way you read something you already know. Slowly. To make sure the knowing is still there. That it has not been eroded by the specific weight of this particular situation. He is not a cruel man. This is the important thing about Marcus Octavius. Most people who will later describe this day will not mention it. He's not a man who finds pleasure in using power against people who want something good. He is a man who believes this. The way you get the good thing matters. As much as the good thing itself. He grew up in a house where his father explained the Republic. The same way other fathers explained farming. Or soldiering. As a system. A thing built by specific men for specific reasons. It required maintenance. It required people to act as if the rules were real. Even when keeping them was expensive. He has been keeping rules at some personal expense for his entire career. This is not a new thing for him. He reads the provision 1 more time. Any measure. No exceptions. He sets the tablet down. He is a man who holds public land in Campania. More than 500 iudura. He has thought about this carefully. He has decided. It does not change the question. A man who defends the veto only. When it costs him nothing has not defended the veto. He has defended his own convenience. The rule is the rule. Or the rule is nothing. He picks up the tablet. He reads the provision once more. He sets it down. He is certain. Certainty is the most important thing about Marcus Octavius. He is always certain. This is not stubbornness. It is something harder to argue with. A man who is stubborn has chosen a position. And will not leave it. A man who is certain has arrived at a position through a process he trusts. He will not leave it. He trusts the process. He puts out the lamp. He goes to bed. 2 weeks ago, Cornelia had thought of his name. She was in the back room. Afternoon. The light from the window. She was writing a letter to a friend in Capua. A sentence about the summer weather. Her hand had stopped. The name had come into her head. Marcus Octavius. She had set down the stylus. She had looked at the window. It had not been thinking about the law. She had not been thinking about the assembly or the vote or the 3 men who said yes. She had been writing about the summer weather. The name. She did not know what to do with it. She filed it. She went back to the weather. She did not tell Tiberius. She does not know why. Below the steps, the assembly square fills. The grain sellers arrive before the speeches. The crowd drives up. The price and the speeches drive up the crowd. This is the economy of the forum. The grain sellers understand it better than anyone. They are not interested in the law. They are interested in the crowd. Tiberius watches the square fill. 3 men have committed. Appius, Crassus. Scaevola said he would not oppose it. These are different things. He knows the difference. Down the steps, near the temple of Castor, Marcus Octavius is standing. He arrived 20 minutes ago. He has been standing in the same position. He is looking at the rostra. Not at Tiberius. At the rostra where the law will be read. They have known each other since they were boys. Tiberius does not think about this right now. He walks down. Chapter 2, the same hand, 3 days. The first day. The clerk reads the law without expression. That is the correct form. The words are the words. The tone does not belong to anyone. 500 iudura. 30 iudura per family. A commission of 3 men. The land cannot be sold. The assembly square is quiet while he reads. Unusually quiet. A crowd this size generates its own noise even when trying not. The breathing of it. The shifting of feet. Today there is something in the crowd that is suppressing the noise. Not quite. Expectation. Closer to the quality of attention people pay when they know something is about to matter. When the clerk finishes, Marcus Octavius raises his hand. He does not stand. He does not speak. He raises his hand, which is the form, and the clerk stops, which is what the form requires. The clerk marks the record. The assembly is dismissed. The Senate watches from the upper steps. They have been there since before the reading. A group of men who do not need to announce their presence together to be understood. As a group, they stand in the way that men with shared interests stand. Not touching. Facing the same direction. Leaning almost. The particular lean of people who are paying very close attention, while appearing to pay nothing in particular. They say nothing. Not that day. Not the day after. Not the day after that. Tiberius files this. A body that large, with that many interests, with that much at stake. Staying that quiet for that long is not acceptance. He knows this. He cannot yet name what it is. He will. The second day. The clerk reads the law again. He is more practiced now. He knows the sections the crowd is waiting for. He moves through the first sections more quickly. Marcus Octavius raises his hand. The same hand. The same moment. No hesitation. The assembly is dismissed. In the square afterward, Tiberius stands for a minute. Around him, the crowd disperses. The energy of people who came far and did not get a result. They will decide whether to come again tomorrow. Most of them will come again tomorrow. He walks back through the square. He does not look at Octavius. Octavius does not look at him. They do not need to. They both understand the position they are in. That is worse in some ways than not understanding it. Between the second day and the third, Tiberius does not eat dinner. His wife puts food on the table. She sits with him. She does not say anything. They have been married 5 years. She knows his silence when he is working through arithmetic. She knows it when the arithmetic is finished. She knows it when the answer is the one he did not want. This is the second kind. She leaves the food on the table. He stares at the wall. The veto is legal. The law is legal. Both things are true in the same space at the same time. When two legal things conflict, there is a process for resolving it. He has read the relevant texts. He has asked Scaevola. Scaevola sent back a note in 3 lines. No written process exists. This gap in the written law is not an accident. It is the kind of gap that is left when no one can agree on what fills it. He eats half the food. He goes to Gaius. Gaius is at his tablets. He sets them aside. He does not check the page. He already knows what this is about. He has been expecting it since the first day. He says he won't move. Tiberius says no. Gaius asks if he has spoken to him directly. Not yet. Gaius looks at the window. The city outside is doing its night sounds. He says, try it. Know what comes next when he says no. Tiberius says he does not know what comes next. He says, you have known it since the second day. He is not unkind when he says this. He is factual. This is a distinction Gaius has learned from their mother. Some facts are unkind in their content. The saying of them need not be. Tiberius stands in the doorway. Then he goes home. He eats the rest of the food. He does not taste it. The third day. He does not wait for the reading. He speaks first. He has prepared 4 sentences. He has made them precise. He has taken out every word that does not carry weight. He says, the law exists for the men who built the road you walked on this morning. For the men who will fill the next legion if we give them the land to qualify. It is their law. Give it 1 vote. He says it clearly. No excess. No building. Marcus Octavius raises his hand. The same hand. The third time. The assembly is dismissed. In the crowd, someone says something that Tiberius does not catch. Not to him. To the man beside him. But the sound of it carries. It is not anger. It is something lower. The sound of people who, running out of patience in a way that does not yet have a name. Tiberius walks back through the stalls. The forum smells of rain that has not arrived. It has been threatening for 2 days. The Tiber is high, moving fast. He will speak to Octavius directly today. He will ask him once. Chapter 3, the space between 2 laws. He goes to Octavius 3 times. He does not plan all 3. He plans 1. The other 2 follow. From the outcome of the first. The first time is in the morning, near the temple of Castor. The light is low still. The square has not filled. There are men in it, but not the crowd yet. Tiberius can see Octavius from 50 yards. Octavius sees him coming. He does not look away. He turns to face him. This is something Tiberius notices. A man who does not look away, when he sees you coming, has already decided how the conversation ends. He says, the law is for the men in Etruria. It is for the men who built the road you walked here on. It is for the men who served in the legions and came home to find their land sold. It is for their sons who cannot serve because they have no property. Give it 1 vote. Octavius listens. He does not interrupt. He waits for the full sentence before speaking. He says, the veto exists for 1 reason. 1 man can stop a measure the people do not yet understand the implications of. If I give it up today for your law, someone gives it up tomorrow for a different one. Then it is not a veto. It is a suggestion that can be overridden by popular pressure. He says this without heat, without contempt. He says it the way a man explains something he has thought through to someone he respects who has not thought it through the same way. He says, I do not think you are wrong about the land. I think you are wrong about how to fix it. Tiberius looks at him. He thinks about the law in Campania, the 500 iudura. He does not say this. He has decided not to make it personal. Octavius has made the same decision. This is a form of respect between them. The situation does not require it. They are offering it anyway. He walks back across the square. The second time is at midday. Octavius is near the basilica steps. He is eating a small meal, the way he takes all meals. Tiberius waits until he is finished. He can feel the people around him noticing this. The tribune with a law the assembly wants, waiting politely for the man blocking it to finish his lunch. This will be described later. He knows this. He does not know how to do it differently. He says, I am not asking you to change what you believe. Count the men who have come to this forum 3 days in a row. From districts half a day's walk away. Men who know what the law is. Men who know what you are doing and why. Octavius says, I have counted them. I am counting what comes after the count. You get this law. What do they want next? Will the next tribune who disagrees find someone to raise a hand? On the third day of that law? He says it the way a patient man repeats something. Not impatient. With Tiberius. Patient in the way of someone settled into a position. Finds it more comfortable the longer he sits. Tiberius walks back. The third time is in the afternoon. He knows before he goes that Octavius will not move. Gaius said so. His wife's face said so. The way Octavius has stood in the same position for 3 days says so. He goes anyway. Not because he expects a different result. Because he will not be able to say he did not try 3 times. He will be able to say he tried 3 times. He says the numbers are right. Octavius says, Tiberius. He has not used his name before this. In 3 conversations 2 days this is the first time. He uses it now and says nothing. After. The name sits there between them. It is not a hostile thing. It is not warm either. It is the name used by a man who respects you and has decided. Tiberius looks at him for a long time. Long enough that people nearby can see that something specific is passing between them. He walks back. He sits on the steps of the Temple of Saturn. The afternoon moves. The light changes. He does not. 2 legal things in the same space. No written process for when they conflict. He has known this for days. The conclusion has been sitting at the edge of his thinking. The way things sit when the arithmetic is done, and you do not yet want to accept the result. He has done the arithmetic. A tribune may be removed from office. This is also in the old law. He has read it. He set it aside 3 weeks ago and then read it again. It has never been used. Not once in 350 years. He knows why. The protection of the tribunate only works if it is absolute. Make it something that can be taken and it is no longer a protection. It is a promise that can be broken. He also knows what Octavius is using the protection for. He sits there for a long time. He tells himself, I am not removing him for disagreeing. I am removing him because the office exists to protect the people. The veto is being used against the people it was built to protect. He tells himself this. He is a man who is good at arithmetic. He can see when the numbers do not balance the way he wants them to. He can see that this argument is also a version of what Octavius said. Both of them are saying, the rule applies until the situation makes the rule wrong. The rules are different. The logic is the same. He sees this. He goes home. That night, Gaius comes. He does not ask how the conversations went. He sits across from Tiberius. He waits. Tiberius says, he won't move. Gaius says, no. Tiberius says, he believes what he believes. Gaius says, he does. A man who is wrong is manageable. A man who is right about the wrong thing is something else. The fire is low. Neither of them tends it. Gaius says, the appeal process. After. When this is done. That is where they will find the opening. Tiberius says he knows. Gaius says to build it before they find it. Tiberius says, one thing at a time. Gaius nods. He disagrees. He nods anyway. This is something he has been practicing. The disagreement that does not announce itself. Tiberius looks at his hands. He has known what comes next since the 2nd day. He will bring it to the assembly in the morning. He had hoped he would not have to. Chapter 4, Tribe by Tribe. There are 35 tribes. The measure before the assembly is this: should Marcus Octavius continue as tribune of the people? The form is old. The words are old. The clerk reads them in the voice he uses for old forms. Measured. Careful. The way you read. Something that has been read many times. Different from the way you read something new. This has never been read before. No one says this. The clerk does not say it. The herald does not say it. The crowd knows it. The Senate on the upper steps knows. Octavius knows it. Tiberius knows it and wishes he did not. The square is very quiet. The first tribe votes. No, he should not continue. The clerk marks the result. He marks it the way he marks everything. No emphasis. No pause. The form continues. The second tribe. No. The crowd around the edges of the square is still. Not silent. Still. There is a difference. Silent is the absence of sound. Still is the presence of people paying complete attention to something they are not sure is good, even though they want the result. The fifth tribe. The eighth. No. No. Tiberius stands where he is supposed to stand. He stopped counting. Exits an hour ago. He does not know when he stopped. He is counting. Something else now. Tribes. 10. 11. He is looking at Octavius. Octavius has not moved. He is standing where he stood when the reading began. He is looking at the herald. Not at Tiberius. Not at the crowd. At the herald who is reading numbers he is not responsible for. 16. 17. Tiberius raises his hand. The clerk stops. The herald stops. The square holds what it has been holding. 18 tribes is the majority. Both of them can do this arithmetic. Everyone in the square can do this arithmetic. Tiberius looks across the square to where Marcus Octavius is standing. He says, "Withdraw the veto. Step down now." We say this was a disagreement between tribunes. We say the law will go forward on its merits. That is all it needs to be. His voice is steady. He is surprised slightly that his voice is steady. He has been standing in this square for 4 hours and his voice is steady. He will think about this later. He waits. The square waits. Octavius has been watching him since the hand went up. He's watching now. The same look he had 3 times in 3 conversations. The look of a man who has arrived somewhere and intends to stay. He says nothing. Tiberius says, "I'm asking you." Pause. A pause is not silence. A pause has a shape. This pause has the shape of a man who has already decided, waiting for the moment of deciding to be finished. Octavius says nothing. The 18th tribe votes. No. The herald reads the result. The clerk marks it. The form is complete. Tiberius does not look at the result. He is looking at Marcus. Octavius. Octavius is already walking. He walks toward the edge of the square. He walks at his normal pace. Not quickly. Not slowly. His normal pace. The pace of a man who is going somewhere he has decided to go. The crowd parts for him. Not with hostility. Not with triumph. The crowd parts the way. People part for someone whose situation they understand and would not want for themselves. There is a quality of recognition in. They know what he was doing and why. They disagreed. They voted. They are not celebrating. Near the edge, someone reaches out and steadies him. One hand. Brief. Then gone. Octavius does not look at who it was. He does not look at the square behind him. He does not look back. He walks out of the forum on his own feet. The forum takes a moment. Then it makes a sound. Not a cheer. Not a celebration. Something that belongs to a crowd that has just watched something happen for the first time. The sound of people who wanted a result and now have it. Standing in the space between wanting and having. It lasts about 30 seconds. Then it begins to settle. Tiberius stands in the middle of the square. He thinks about 18. The number 18. He had counted ahead. He always counts ahead. He had a number in his head when the vote began. He thought 20 or 21. Possibly 22. The answer was 18. 18 was the majority. 18 was enough. He had hoped for more. More would have said something different. More would have said, this was not close. 18 says it was close. He files 18. He will think about it later. He looks at where Octavius was standing. The space is empty now. People have already moved into it. The crowd does not leave a space empty. He thinks about what Octavius did. He thinks, that was a kind of integrity. He does not say this out loud. He is not going to say it out loud for a long time. Maybe never. But he thinks it. A man who believes something and holds it all the way to the end. Who does not shift when the pressure comes. Who walks out on his own feet. That is a kind of integrity. Even when the thing he was holding was wrong. Even when wrong is the word. Tiberius is not sure wrong is the word. He thinks Octavius was right about the precedent. He thinks he was wrong about the cost. He thinks I may also be wrong about the cost. He does not know yet. You will find out. Tiberius stands in the middle of the square. The crowd begins to move. Life continues at its normal speed. The grain sellers are coming back. A lawyer is explaining to someone what just happened. The Tiber is still high. Moving fast. Tiberius does not hear any of it. He has now done two things never done before in the republic's history. He took the law directly to the assembly, past the Senate. He removed a sitting tribune by popular vote. Both were legal. He does not know what to do with the fact that they were legal. He had expected to feel something when this was over. He is not sure what he feels. He is not sure the category of feeling applies to what he is doing. The republic that existed yesterday had these rules. The republic today has the same rules. Something has changed anyway. He is 30 years old. He does not know yet that people will discuss this month for the next 200 years. He will not live to see how that ends. None of them will. He walks home. Chapter 5. The Forum before evening. The law passes 3 days later. It passes the way things pass after a long fight. Quickly. As if the assembly wants to be done before anything changes. The clerk reads the result. The forum makes a sound. Not cheering. Something lower than cheering and more lasting. The sound a place makes when something it has been holding is finally put down. The vote is not close. He had expected it to be closer. He has been in the forum long enough to know this. Things he expects are often different from the things that happen. This time the thing that happened was larger and cleaner than he expected. He files this. He does not know yet what it means. The three-man commission meets the morning after. Tiberius, Appius, Crassus. They meet in a room off the main hall. A small table. The maps of the public lands in Etruria, which are old. Some are 40 years old. Some older. The boundary lines are drawn in a hand that may belong to a man who is now dead. Appius traces one of the lines with one finger. His hands have the specific slowness of old hands that once moved quickly. They know where they are going. They arrive at a different speed than before. He does not comment on this. He says, "This will take years." Tiberius says, "Yes." Appius says, "Good. I want to see the first portion done before I die. The rest can happen after." He says it without drama. A practical preference stated plainly. Crassus is reading the survey numbers. He is looking for the error. There is always an error in documents this old. He will find it. He will tell them. They will correct it. This is what Crassus brings to the commission. Not warmth. Not belief. Accuracy. They work through the morning. Tiberius looks at the map. The lines on it represent farms that used to have families. The commission will turn those lines into different lines. It will take years. Appius is right about that. The men in Etruria do not know yet that the law has passed. The news travels at the speed of horses on roads. They are doing what they were doing yesterday. Whatever it is that men do when they have no land and no work. He will make sure the word gets there. Cornelia hears the news in the afternoon. A messenger. One short sentence. She thanks him by name. She sits for a moment after he leaves. She thinks about the men in Etruria. She has never seen them. She has a clear image anyway. Tiberius described them once, 2 years ago, on the evening he came home from Spain. The image stayed. Old doorways. Empty garden plots. She thinks about Marcus Octavius. She has met him 4 times. Perhaps 5. He is a man who believes what he believes. She has known men like this her whole life. Her father was this kind of man. Her husband was this kind of man. They are not bad men. They are the hardest kind. She cannot say why she thinks of him specifically. She thought of his name 2 weeks ago in a room where she was writing about the weather. She does not know why it came to her then. She does not know why it stayed. She thinks about what the law costs and what it gives and whether those things balance. She does not know. She has learned to hold the things she does not know in the same space as the things she does, without requiring them to resolve. She thinks about her son standing in the forum this morning. He does not know what he has started. She has thought this before. About people she has loved. It is always true. The people who start things never know what they have started. She does not say this to anyone. She goes back to the desk. The letter to Capua is still waiting. She finishes it. That evening, Tiberius walks back through the forum. The torches are being lit at the edges of the square. One at a time. There is a man whose only job is to light them every evening in the same order without variation. He has done this for 20 years. He will do it until he cannot. The forum does not know his name. Tiberius knows it. He learned it last winter from a conversation near the Temple of Saturn. He does not know why he started asking names in the forum. He does it now without thinking. The square is emptying. Tiberius walks slowly. He is thinking about the Senate. 4 months of hearings, arguments, motions, 1 tribune removed from office. The Senate has made no formal statement, no recorded opposition, no position taken in writing, nothing. He has thought this strange since the 3rd week. A body that large, with that many interests staying that quiet for that long, is not acceptance. It is waiting. He does not know what they are waiting for. There is too much work now. He files it. He will come back to it. He stops at the top of the forum steps. The city below in the last light. Iron on stone somewhere. The Tiber doing what rivers do. A dog. The silence between one torch being lit and the next. He thinks the law will work. He believes this. He has believed it since he wrote the number for the first time. He also believes something happened this month that he does not fully understand. He has the shape of it but not the name. The republic he grew up in had certain rules that were not written down because everyone understood them. The rule that the tribunate was untouchable. The rule that the Senate spoke before the assembly acted. These were not laws. They were the way things worked. He has worked differently this month. He had reasons. The reasons were good. He thinks about Octavius reading the veto provision in an empty room the night before. Certain. Without cruelty. Also with good reasons. The forum holds its cold below him. The same cold as this morning. The same stones. The same square. Something is different anyway. He turns and walks home. He walks slowly. He is not in a hurry. He has been in a hurry all day. He is not in a hurry now. He thinks about the month. He has been a tribune for 4 months now. He will be a tribune until December. 8 more months. He thinks about what 8 more months looks like. The commission will work. The surveyors will measure. The legal challenges will come. He will fight the legal challenges. He will read more law. He will build more arguments. He thinks about Gaius. Gaius was at the forum for the vote. He was at the back near the columns. He stood very still. He watched everything. He is 20 years old. Tiberius was 21 when he first spoke in the forum. He has been thinking about this number more than he should. He thinks, Gaius is better at this than I was at 20. He is better at reading a room. Better at tracking multiple things at once. Better at patience. Tiberius has always been certain. Certainty has its uses, but it also has limits. Certainty does not always see the room. He files this. He does not know yet what to do with it. He walks through the Subura. This is not the most direct route home. He walks through it anyway. He walks through the noise and the smell and the crowded streets. He has been walking through the Subura since he was a boy. His father used to bring him here. He said, "You need to know where the city lives." He knew what his father meant. His father was a senator. He lived on the Palatine. The Subura was a different world. He walks. A man recognizes him and says something. He stops. He listens. The man's name is something he will not remember in the morning. He will try to remember. He will probably fail. He says something back. He keeps walking. The river is out there somewhere doing what rivers do. It does not know what year it is. It was here before the law. Will be hereafter. Chapter 6. The third reading. The forum is full before sunrise. This has not happened before. Not for a land bill. Not for a grain bill. Not for a consular election. Not for a war vote against Carthage. The word has moved through the night the way it moves when something real is coming. No announcement was made. No notice was posted. Men woke in the dark and went to the forum because something in the city told them to. The city does this sometimes. It develops a collective sense of when to show up. 5,000 years of settlement will do that. The stones know before the people do. Tiberius arrives before the sellers. He comes to the edge of the square and stops. He stands there for a long moment without moving. He counts the exits. The passage behind the Temple of Saturn. Narrow. Good if you need to move fast. The street to the left toward the Argiletum. What? Slow to clear. The wide way back toward the Capitoline steps. Open. Visible. 3 exits. He always counts 3. Numantia. The camp at dawn. You count the exits before you count anything else. He turns his attention to the crowd. He does not go to the rostra yet. He stands at the edge and looks. The crowd is not one kind of people. This is the first thing he notices. He sees men from the Subura. Their work tunics are dark at the shoulders from the night damp. Their sandals are worn through at the right heel. These are men who walk the same route every day. Who carry weight. Who live in the noise of Rome's lowest district. Who have come to the forum before dawn because someone told them something was happening. He sees men from outside the city. They came yesterday and slept somewhere near the forum. He can tell by the way they stand. Not tired from walking this morning. Stiff from sleeping on stone or packed ground. They brought food. They have been here since yesterday and have not gone home. He sees men from Etruria. He knows some of these faces. He had stood near those fields 2 years ago. Riding back from Spain through Etruria. He had stopped at the wells and asked about the families. He had counted what he could see from the road. All of it ager publicus. Registered as state land. Held by 3 families. Held for more than a century. One of those men from Etruria is here. He is near the Temple of Castor on the right side. He is wearing the same worn cloak. Tiberius remembers his face from the field. He does not know his name. He does not know if the man knows who he is. He sees a man near the temple steps who was at the first reading. Then the second. He is still here. He has not gone home. Tiberius presses his thumb joint. He thinks they came. He has read this law to these people twice. Twice they waited. Twice they heard the word and went home. They are back. He thinks about what that means. These are not men with nothing else to do. A man from Etruria who leaves his farm for 3 days during the spring season. A man from the Subura who is not at his work before dawn. These are men who made a decision. The decision cost them something. And they are still here. He turns his attention to the rostra. Octavius is already there. He is standing at the side of the platform. He is not looking at the crowd. He is looking at the far side of the forum at the columns of the basilica. He looks steady. He looks like a man who has made his decision. Waiting for the morning to require him to make it again. Tiberius knows that look. He wore it this morning. He walks. He walks through the crowd. The crowd moves for him. Not because they are afraid of him. Because they recognize him. He has been here every morning for 3 months. The forum knows his face. He takes the steps to the rostra. He stands at the front of the platform. The sun is coming up behind him. He can feel it on the back of his neck. The crowd faces east to look at him. They are looking into the light. He is not. He can see every face. He begins. He has read these words twice before. He knows them. The words are not complicated. The law is not complicated. He wrote it to be simple. A law that men can understand without lawyers is harder to argue against. He reads the first section. The ager publicus belongs to Rome. The legal limit is 500 iugera. The rest returns to the state. A commission will distribute it. 7 iugera per citizen. No family loses more than the law allows. He reads slowly. Not because he is being dramatic. Because he wants every man in this forum to be able to follow. He wants no one to be able to say later that they did not understand what was proposed. He pauses at the end of the first section. He looks at Octavius. Octavius has not moved. He is watching Tiberius. He has been watching since he took the steps. He raises his hand. He says the word. One syllable. Veto. I forbid. The same word it was the day before. The same word it was the day before that. The forum makes a sound. Not a shout. Not anything you could put a word to. Something that starts in the chest of 5,000 men at the same moment. Something that has been building since the first reading. Tiberius does not move. He stands at the front of the platform and looks at the crowd. Then at Octavius. Then at the crowd again. He does not step back. He has not stepped back since the second reading. This morning he decided he will not step back again. He says the law stands. He says we will continue. He says he is asking the assembly to decide something today. Not the land law. Something that comes before it. He says he is asking the assembly to decide about the man standing on this platform. He points at Octavius. The forum absorbs this. It takes a breath. Then it goes very still. The second kind of still. The kind that belongs to people who are about to watch something they have never watched before. Chapter 7. The word Octavius used. The word is veto. In Latin it is not a noun. It is a verb. First person singular, present tense. I forbid. The tribune does not forbid the law. He forbids the assembly from voting on the law. He forbids the majority from enacting its will. This is not a side effect of the office. This is the point of it. The tribunate was created in 493 BC. The date matters. It was created immediately after the first secession of the plebs. The plebs left the city. They went to the sacred mount outside Rome. They stayed there until the patricians agreed to give them protection. The tribunes were that protection. 10 men elected by the plebs to stand between them and the power of the magistrates. Between them and arbitrary arrest. Between them and the consul's lictors. The word that described them was sacrosanct. It meant that their persons were protected by religious law. Harming a tribune was not merely a crime against the state. It was an offense against the gods. Rome took this seriously. And the tribunes had the power of intercessio. The power to forbid. A tribune could stop any official act. A consul's decree. A praetor's order. A senate vote. Any act of any magistrate, stopped by one tribune raising one hand. For 300 years this worked. The patricians tried to suppress the plebs. The tribunes said no. The patricians tried to take back land from the state. The tribunes said no. The patricians tried to limit access to the assembly. The tribunes said no. The system worked because the veto was pointed in one direction. The tribunes were of the people. They used the veto to protect the people. Octavius knows all of this. He grew up knowing it. His father was a senator. His grandfather was a senator. This is the kind of family that explains the republic to its children. Not as politics. As architecture. Here is how it is built. Here is why each part exists. Here is what happens when you remove a piece. The republic works because the rules hold. The rules hold because everyone treats them as real. Even when treating them as real is expensive. Especially then. The veto is expensive right now. Octavius can see the crowd. He can hear what 5,000 men sound like when they are told no for the third time. He can see the men who came from outside the city. He is not indifferent to them. He is not a cold man. He is not a man without feeling. He is a man who believes that the feeling is not the argument. The feeling says, these men need land. The feeling is right. The argument says, the way you get the land matters. The argument is also right. You do not break a rule because the stakes are high. You keep it because the stakes are high. That is when rules matter. When they are expensive. When keeping them costs you something. If the rule only holds when it is easy, it is not a rule. It is a preference. Octavius is holding a rule. He knows what Tiberius is building. He has known since the end of the second reading. He can see the argument. The assembly gave him the office. The assembly can take it back. He can see where it leads. An assembly that removes a tribune it disagrees with is an assembly without a check. An assembly without a check is not a republic. It is a mob with voting procedures. The veto exists to protect the minority from the majority, to make the majority slow down and think, to create friction. Friction is not failure. Friction is the mechanism. Octavius stands at the side of the rostra. He has made his decision. He will not move. Not because he does not feel what the crowd feels. Because he does and has decided the feeling is not sufficient reason. This is the hardest kind of no. When you can see the other side clearly. When you understand why they are right about the feeling. And you say no anyway. Because the argument that matters is not about this morning. It is about what morning this morning becomes. He has thought about what comes after. After today, no matter what the vote says, there will be men who use what happened here. The Senate will call it a constitutional crisis. They will say a tribune was unlawfully removed. They will say the mob decided. They will say this is what happens when you give the assembly too much power. Octavius knows this. He knows he will be part of that argument. Not because he wants to be. Because he stood here and said no and said no and said no. He is not afraid of that. A man who is afraid of what the argument will do to him does not last long in this city. He has watched men who were afraid. They bend. They find a position closer to the comfortable center. They call it moderation. He is not going to bend. He believes what he believes. The veto is valid. The intercessio is sacrosanct. The rule must hold. If the rule does not hold, the office is gone. Not his. The office. The thing that protects everyone who comes after. He stands at the side of the rostra. He looks at the columns. He thinks, Tiberius is not wrong about the land. He does not say this out loud. He has not said it to anyone. He does not think it changes anything. You can be right about the problem and wrong about the solution. He thinks he is right about the solution. He thinks Tiberius is wrong about it. He thinks the forum today will disagree with him. He is ready for that. He waits. Chapter 8, What the Veto Was. The intercessio had been used many times. The records are clear on this. The tribunes used it against consuls who tried to draft men against their will. Against praetors who used the courts to suppress plebeian debt claims. Against Senate decrees that would restrict the assembly's powers. Against war votes when the men who would fight the war had not been consulted. The list covers 3 centuries. In 494 BC, the tribunes used the intercessio to free men imprisoned for debt. In 449, they used it to defend the publication of the 12 tables. In 342, they used it to limit the number of terms a magistrate could hold. In 287, the Hortensian Law gave the tribal assembly full legislative force. That ended the conflict of the orders. Generations of fighting. For that law. For the right of the assembly to make laws that bound everyone, including the Senate. The tribunate was the guard around that right. When the Senate tried to override an assembly vote, the tribunes intervened. When magistrates tried to ignore assembly decisions, the tribunes intervened. The intercessio was a shield. It faced one direction. Away from the people. Toward the magistrates. Toward the Senate. Toward the patricians who had monopolized power for centuries. That was the design. That was what the men who created it intended. What they did not intend was this. A tribune using the intercessio to block the assembly itself. Not to protect the people from the magistrates. Not to stop arbitrary power from above. But to stop the people from doing what the people wanted to do. From below. This was new. The gap in the law was a gap because no one had imagined it. The designers of the tribunate imagined a tribune who came from the people. Who served the people. And returned to them when the year was done. A man who used the intercessio because the people needed protection. Not because his own view of what was good for them differed from theirs. The law was silent about that case. It was silent because the case was unimaginable. Tiberius had spent months in that silence. Reading every document he could find. The Hortensian Law. The founding acts of the tribunate. The records of the conflict of the orders. The precedents. He found what he was looking for. Not a rule that said the assembly could remove a tribune. There was no such rule. He found the space where the rule was not. And in that space he built his argument. The assembly created the tribunate. The assembly elects the tribunes. The assembly is the source of the power. A tribune who uses that power against the assembly has inverted the relationship. He is using the tool against the hand that made it. In that case, the hand can take back the tool. Not by force. By vote. The same way it gave it. He knew what Scaevola would say. He knew what any careful lawyer would say. The precedent will outlast the law. He knew this. He agreed. And he built the argument anyway. Because the land is real. Because the men who slept in the forum came from real fields. Because the ager publicus is real, documented, measurable. He measured it. He knows the numbers. He has checked them 4 times. The forum before the third reading smells of what forums smell of before anything important. Old stone. Dust from feet. The faint salt of the Tiber 200 paces to the west. Cook fires from the stalls that have not opened yet. Tiberius stands at the edge of the speaking area. He has the argument. He has the numbers. He has the votes. He has done the count. He looks at the crowd. He has been looking at crowds in this forum for 3 months. He knows what this crowd is. It is not a mob. He has heard the word already. People who were not here will use it. The men in the Senate who were not here this morning will say it. They will say, Tiberius brought a mob to the forum. He looks at the faces. A man from Etruria near the temple of Castor. The same face from 6 days ago. The same worn cloak. He does not know the man's name. He does not know the man's name, and he will not learn it. A woman at the back with a child on her arm. Women do not vote. She is here anyway. She came to watch. A group of men from the Subura in their work clothes. They were at the second reading. He knows 3 of their faces. He does not know their names either. You will not know most of their names. This is the thing about being a tribune. You work for 100,000 people whose names you will never know. You are accountable to them anyway. They will hold what you did here in their heads for the rest of their lives. They will tell their children. He thinks about this more than he usually lets himself. He has been careful these 3 months not to think too much about the scale. The scale is large. If you think about the scale too much, it becomes abstract. It becomes a number. He does not want the land law to be a number. He wants it to be the field above Ruzelli. The man from Etruria in the worn cloak. The group who came from half a day away and slept on stones. The law only works if it stays specific. 7 Iudra. This family. This field. This measurement. This commission. These surveyors. He has been holding it at the level of the specific. He looks at the faces one more time. He thinks, the men in the Senate will call this mob. He knows the word. He has used it himself. He knows what it means. A mob is a crowd without a legitimate purpose. A mob is people whose will does not deserve to be honored. A mob is something you do not negotiate with. Something you wait out. He looks at the faces. He thinks, I disagree. He thinks about what Cornelia told him once. She said, Rome was built by people the Senate called a mob. She said it the way she says things she has thought about for a long time. Now stating. He pressed his thumb joint when she said it. He does not know if she saw him do it. He presses it now. He goes up. Chapter 9, 3 days. 3 days between the second veto and the third reading. The first night he does not sleep well. This is different from not sleeping. Not sleeping is when the body refuses. What happens on the first night is different from that. He sleeps. He wakes at the second hour. He lies there. He does not reach for the lamp. The ceiling is dark. The city is doing its night work. Iron on stone somewhere below the Esquiline. A mule stopped and refusing at a corner. The creak of an axle wheel. A voice. One voice. Then nothing. He lies in the dark and thinks about Octavius. They were elected together in December. They sat in the same ceremony in January. They wore the same white. They stood in the same line. They took the same oath. The office is the same. Their use of it is not. He does not dislike Octavius. He has said this to Gaius and to his wife, and now he says it to the dark ceiling. He does not dislike Marcus Octavius. It would be easier if he did. A man you dislike is easier to move against. You can make him less than he is. You can make his reasons small. His reasons are not small. He understands Octavius's argument. He has understood it since before the first reading. The Republic holds together because people keep the rules. Not when it is easy. when it is hard. The expense is the point. If the rule only holds when it costs nothing, it is not a rule. He understands this. He disagrees with it. Not because the argument is wrong. Because there is another argument that is also true. The ager publicus has been illegally held for more than a century. The law was always clear. 500 iujura. No one enforced it. The law that is not enforced is not a law. It is a preference. He is trying to enforce it. Octavius is stopping him. Not because the law is wrong. Because of how Tiberius is trying to enforce it. This is the specific shape of their disagreement. He lies in the dark and traces the shape. On the second day he goes to Scaevola again. He walks to the house on the Esquiline in the middle of the morning. He has been here many times. Scaevola was his father's friend. He has been coming to this house since he was a boy. The house is quiet in the way that houses of serious men are quiet. Not because nothing is happening. Because the important things happen silently. Scaevola meets him at the door. He already knows why he has come. He always seems to already know. This is part of why he is the best lawyer in Rome. He takes Tiberius to the study. The study has not changed since Tiberius was 12. The same shelves. The same 3 lamps. The same view of the courtyard through the small window. Scaevola does not sit. He stands at the window. He says, "You are going to ask me the same question." Tiberius says yes. Scaevola says, "My answer is the same." He is quiet for a moment. The courtyard outside is doing its afternoon things. A bird lands on the far wall and then decides against it. He says, "You understand the precedent." Tiberius says he does. Scaevola says, "Not the concept. The specific risk." He turns from the window. He says, "The assembly will remember this. They will remember that they removed a tribune. They will remember that the argument was, he opposed us. 15 years from now, 50 years from now, some assembly will need an argument. They will find this one. They will use it for something you would not recognize." Tiberius says he knows. Scaevola said he knew Tiberius knew. He said it anyway. He would not advise him to proceed. He paused. He says, "I will not move against you if you do." He says it carefully. The way a man says something he has chosen word by word. Tiberius goes home. He sits at his desk. The lamp is low. His wife is already asleep. He picks up the pen. He does not write anything. He holds it. He thinks, Scaevola is right about the precedent. He thinks, the land is also real. He thinks, these two things cannot both be fully honored. He thinks, I have to choose. He has been choosing for 3 months. He has been choosing for 2 years. Since Etruria. Since he rode back through Etruria and stopped at the wells and counted what he could see from the road. He sets down the pen. He goes to the window. The Tiber is out there somewhere in the dark. He cannot see it. He can smell the mud. He knows the direction. On the 3rd night he sleeps. He lies down. The ceiling is the same dark. The city is doing the same work. He has made the decision. Making a decision does not make it right. He has been in enough rooms with enough men who made decisions to know that. A decision is not the same as correctness. It is the same as commitment. He closes his eyes. He is asleep before the 2nd hour. He always sleeps eventually. He is grateful for this. He has known men who lose the capacity. He has not lost it yet. He wakes before dawn. He dresses. He goes to the forum. Chapter 10. The argument he made to himself. He wrote it down. He does not always do this. Some arguments he carries in his head. He is good with arguments in his head. He can hold the structure, see the weak points, repair them. This was the second kind of argument. The kind he had to see. He sat at his desk the night before the 3rd reading. The lamp was low. His wife was in the other room. He could hear the particular quiet of a person asleep. He wrote the argument in the order he would make it. First, the tribunate exists to serve the people. This is not a description of what it does. It is the reason it was created. It is the origin of the office. The plebs needed protection. The tribunes were that protection. This is the only reason the office exists. Second, a tribune who acts against the people has abandoned the purpose of his office. Not his legal right. His purpose. Purpose and right are not the same thing. A man has the legal right to use a hammer as a weapon. That is not what hammers are for. Third, a man who has abandoned his purpose can be removed from the role his purpose requires. Not by force. By the same process that put him there. By the assembly. By the people. Fourth, the people are the source of the power. They gave it. They can take it back. Not as punishment. As reassertion. He sat with this for a long time. He looked at what he had written. He knew the gap. The argument is not in any document. No law says this. No legal precedent establishes it. He was building it from the founding principle. Not from written rule. This is what makes it dangerous. This is what Scaevola had said. An argument built from principle without rule can go anywhere. It has no walls. He looked at the argument again. He wrote next to it the counter-argument. Octavius is a tribune. He has the right to say the word. He said it. The veto is valid. The veto has always been valid. He sat with both. He thought about Laelius. 15 years ago Laelius had this law. He was Scipio's man. He was capable and careful and serious. He withdrew the law. He called himself the wise for doing so. Tiberius had asked his mother once what she thought of Laelius. She had said, "He withdrew." That was all she said. It was enough. He looked at the lamp. The oil was almost done. He could smell the wick. He thought, the land is still there. The men who need it are still not getting it. Laelius withdrew 15 years ago and the land is still there. He rolled the paper. He put it in the drawer. He went to bed. The decision was not in the paper. He did not write the decision. He wrote the argument to see if the decision already made could survive the argument. It could. That was enough. He knows it is not legal. He knows Scaevola is right. He has decided the land matters more than the risk. He will live with this. He has decided to live with this. He does not know yet what living with it will look like. He will find out. He blows out the lamp. He goes to the window before he sleeps. The Tiber is out there. He cannot see it. He knows the direction. He has always known the direction of water. It is the kind of thing you learn young and do not forget. He thinks, the law is right. He thinks, the method is not right and may be necessary. He thinks, necessary things that are not right have a way of becoming the model for the next thing, which also becomes necessary, which is also not entirely right. This is the chain Scaevola is worried about. He is also worried about it. He stands at the window. The city is doing its late night. Almost quiet now. The last cart. The last voice from somewhere below. He thinks about his father. His father was a senator. His father served on the commission that reorganized the Macedonian provinces. His father did good work. His father was a careful man. His father died before Tiberius was old enough to ask him about the things he regretted. He does not know what his father would say about tomorrow. He thinks he would say do it cleanly. He thinks he would also say think carefully about the precedent. He thinks he would also say the land is real. He cannot ask him. He goes to bed. He lies in the dark. He thinks about the men who will be at the forum tomorrow. He does not know all of them. He knows some of them. The man from Etruria. The group from the Subura. The people who slept somewhere near the forum last night. He thinks about what they want. They want the land. They came here for that. They came here and waited 2 days for that. They also want something else. Something they do not put into words. Something about being counted. About their votes meaning something. About the law being real. He thinks, this is also what the land law is. Not just the land. The law being real. For a century the law said 500 iudra. Nobody enforced it. The law was there. The enforcement was not. He is trying to make the law and the enforcement the same thing. That is what the 3 months have been. That is what tomorrow is. He thinks this is important. Not because he is noble. Because it is true. The law that is not enforced is a lie. A comfortable lie. A lie that protects the people who already have things. A lie that tells the people who do not have things that the system exists for them. He is trying to make it true. He does not sleep for a while. Then he does. He sleeps. In the morning he goes to the forum. He does not check the paper in the drawer. He already knows what it says. Chapter 11, Scaevola again. Mucius Scaevola was the best lawyer in Rome. This is not an opinion that requires defense. The men who disagreed with him politically used his services anyway. The men who disliked him came to his house with their legal questions. The men who had opposed him in court came back the next year. That is the test. He had been in the law for 40 years. He had seen arguments come apart at their joints. He had seen arguments he believed in fail because they were built on assumptions rather than documents. He had also seen arguments that should not have worked survive, because the man making them was committed to the right result. He had opinions about which kind was better. He had come to Tiberius on the morning before the second reading. He stood in the study and he said, "I cannot advise this." Tiberius had said he understood. Scaevola had said, "I want to be precise about what I mean." He sat down. He does not sit in most meetings. He sat down. He said he did not believe what Tiberius was proposing was morally wrong. He believed it was legally dangerous. He said those were different things. He said Tiberius was proposing something the Constitution did not contain, not something the Constitution forbade. He says, "The gap is where this lives." Tiberius said he knew. Scaevola said he knew what fills gaps. He said it without judgment. The way a doctor names a symptom. Not to alarm. To describe. He says, precedent fills gaps. He says, you are about to create a precedent. The precedent is, the assembly can remove a sitting tribune. That precedent will be used again. Not by you. By someone who does not have your reasons. By someone who has different reasons. Who has a different constituency. Who is trying to remove a different kind of tribune. Tiberius says, I know. He said it each time. He knew. Scaevola looked at him. Scaevola is a man who has spent 40 years watching men who know something and do it anyway. He has opinions about this too. Sometimes the thing you know is not sufficient reason to stop. Sometimes you know the cost and you pay it anyway because the alternative is worse. He is not sure which category this is. He said, if Tiberius proceed cleanly. Give Octavius every chance to withdraw. Let the vote be the assembly's vote. Not his action alone. He paused. He walked to the door. He stopped. He did not turn around. He says, I will be at the forum for the reading. He left. Tiberius stood in his study. The afternoon light was at that angle. The one that lasts 5 minutes before it moves. He has always liked that light. His father showed it to him in this room when he was 7. His father is dead. He thought about what Scaevola had said. Not the warning. The last thing. He will be at the forum. Scaevola does not attend assembly readings. He attends trials. He attends senatorial sessions when he is asked. He does not attend tribal assembly readings. He said he would be at the forum. Tiberius filed this. He did not know what it meant. He knew it was not nothing. He went home. He ate. He sat with his wife. He went to bed early. The city was still doing its business when he closed his eyes. Iron on stone. The last sellers. The first bats. He slept. His wife did not ask him what Scaevola said. She asked him in the morning when they were eating. She asked the way she asked things. Direct. One question. Then she waited. He told her. He told her what Scaevola said about the precedent. He told her what Scaevola said about the cleaning. He told her the last thing. That Scaevola would be at the forum. She listened. She is good at listening. He has known this since they were married. She does not listen to find the place where she can speak. She listens to understand what was said. This is a different kind of listening. He is not always as good at it as she is. She says, and what did you decide? He said he had decided to proceed. She says, good. She said it without drama. The way she says things she has thought about and reached a conclusion on. He asked if she thought so. She said the land is real. She said Scaevola is also right. She said Tiberius can hold both of those things. She ate. He looked at her. He has known her for 5 years. He does not always know what she is going to say. This time he thought he knew. He thought she would say be careful. She said the land is real. He thinks about her on the way to the forum. He thinks she is right. Both things are true. The land is real. The precedent is real. He is going to do it anyway. He walks. He thinks about the past 3 months. He thinks about the first time he read the law. The crowd that came. The way the forum sounded after the first veto. Not surprised. The forum was not surprised. It was something else. He filed it at the time but did not know what to do with the filing. He knows now. The forum has been waiting. Not for this specific law. For something. For a sign that the law means something. That the assembly exists for something. That the vote is not a ceremony. He has been holding this for 3 months and not saying it. He says it now to himself, walking. The forum has been waiting for someone to act as though the law is real. He has been acting that way. He thinks, this is also why the Senate is afraid. Not of the land law. The land law is inconvenient. The Senate has survived inconvenient laws. They are afraid of the principle underneath. The principle that the assembly's vote means something. That the law is real. That the people who make the laws can also enforce them. A Senate that cannot block enforcement is a different Senate. Smaller. Less powerful. Still powerful. But less. He knows they will respond. He does not know in what form. He walks faster. He walks. The forum is already full when he arrives. Chapter 12, The Vote to Remove. 35 tribes. This is how the assembly votes. Each tribe votes as a unit. The majority within the tribe sets the tribe's vote. 18 tribes are the majority of 35. 18 is the number. Tiberius has asked the assembly to vote on something new. He has announced it plainly. He is not hiding what he is doing. He said it from the rostra in front of everyone. He said, Marcus Octavius is using the power of the tribunate against the people who gave him that power. He said, a tribune who does this has left the purpose of his office. He said, the people gave him the office. The people can take it back. He said, this is what he is asking the assembly to decide. The forum is quiet. Not the silence before a speech. The silence before something that has not happened before. The crowd knows this is different. They do not have a word for what it is. But they know the weight of it. Tiberius goes to Octavius one more time before the vote. He walks from the rostra to where Octavius is standing. The distance is about 20 paces. He walks it slowly. He says Octavius can still step aside. He says, let the law come to a vote. He says Octavius does not have to leave the office. Just let this one vote proceed. Octavius looks at him. He is steady. He has been steady all morning. He has the look of a man who made his decision in the dark. Not going to remake it in the light. He says, no. He says it quietly. Without anger. The way you say no when you have said it enough times that you no longer need volume. Tiberius goes back to the rostra. He begins the vote. The first tribe. The herald calls the tribe. The men from that tribe move to the voting area. They cast their tokens. The tokens are counted. The tribe's vote is announced. Yes. The word goes through the forum. The second tribe. Yes. The sound from the crowd builds. Not a cheer. Not yet. The sound of people watching something build toward a conclusion. The fifth tribe. Yes. The eighth. Yes. The crowd has found its voice now. After each tribe a sound. Not organized. Not the sound of men who were told to respond. The sound of men who cannot help it. The 10th tribe. Tiberius stops. He goes to Octavius again. 20 paces. He walks them slowly again. He wants the forum to see this. Not because he is performing it. Because Scaevola told him to make it clean. Clean means, every man in this forum will see that Octavius had every chance. He says, 10 tribes. 8 more. He says Octavius can still end this. Octavius says no. He has still not looked at the crowd. Since the vote began he has not looked at the crowd once. He is looking at the columns on the far side. He is looking at the same place he has been looking all morning. Tiberius goes back. The 11th tribe. Yes. The 13th. Yes. The 15th. Yes. Tiberius stops again. He goes to Octavius one final time. He does not speak immediately. He stands in front of the man. He thinks, we were elected together. He thinks, I am sorry. He does not say this. He says, 15. 3 more. End this now. Octavius says no. Same tone. Same volume. He has not changed since the first no. He is the same man he was at the beginning. This is the thing about Marcus Octavius that Tiberius will not forget. He did not become a different man when the pressure came. He was the same. Tiberius goes back to the rostra. The 16th tribe. Yes. The 17th. Yes. The forum is very loud now. The 18th tribe. The herald calls it. The men from the tribe move. They vote. The tokens are counted. Yes. 18. Marcus Octavius is no longer a tribune. This is the moment. The forum does not know what to do with it. It takes a breath. It takes longer than a breath. It takes the time a large thing needs to settle. Then the sound comes. Not pure celebration. Something mixed. Relief and something under relief. The sound of people who wanted a thing and got it and are not entirely sure what getting it means. Tiberius stands at the front of the rostra. He presses his thumb joint. He does not celebrate. He waits for the forum to finish its sound. He thinks about what just happened. 18 tribes. He counted them. He always counts. He thinks about the thing Octavius did not do. Octavius did not call for help. He did not appeal to the Senate. He did not try to stop the vote by claiming it was illegal. He had standing to make that argument. He did not make it. He stood at the side of the platform and said no. 3 times he said no. Each time Tiberius offered him a way out, he said no. And when the 18th tribe voted, he walked. Tiberius will think about this for the rest of the year. He will think about it longer than that. A man who disagreed and stood his ground until the vote was final and then left. On his own feet. Without making it uglier than it had to be. That cost Octavius something. It was not nothing. He files this. He says the law. Now the law. Chapter 13. Octavius Leaves. He walks. This is what people remember. Not what Tiberius said. Not what the crowd sounded like. Not the vote count. They remember that Octavius walked. He walked out. On his own feet. At his own pace. Without being pushed. Without being pulled. Without anything touching him. He took the steps from the side of the platform. He came down onto the forum stones. He found a path through the crowd. The crowd moved. Not all at once. Not with a plan. The way a crowd moves when it has no precedent for what it is watching. It stepped back. It opened a path. Not out of respect. Not out of fear. Out of something that did not have a name yet. The name would come later. Later they would call it the moment the rule broke. At the time they just moved. He walked through the gap. His back was straight. His pace was even. He did not slow for anything. He did not look sideways. He did not look back at the platform. He did not look at Tiberius. He did not look at the crowd that was making way for him. He walked as though he had somewhere to be. As though this was a path he had planned and was executing. As though the forum was simply the route between the platform and the street. He reached the edge of the square. He turned the corner. He was gone. The forum stood with what it had done. The sound that had been building stopped. Not immediately. The way a fire stops. First the flame, then the heat, then the smoke, then the smell. The forum went quiet in stages. Tiberius did not move during this. He stood at the front of the rostra. He thought, this is what winning looks like. He had expected it to look different. He had thought there would be something clearer. Some moment of arrival. The weight lifting the way a weight lifts when you set it down. Instead he felt the weight rearranged. Not gone. Rearranged into a different shape. Octavius walked on his own feet. No one touched him. This is good. This is what Scaevola said to make happen. But Octavius walking on his own feet is not the same as Octavius being wrong. Octavius is not wrong. He is on the wrong side of the vote. Those are different things. Tiberius files this. He will need to think about this more. Later. The forum is waiting. He goes back to the rostra. He says the law. He thinks about the man from Etruria. He thinks about the road through Etruria. 2 years ago. The farms visible from the road. The women at the wells. The names they said for the land. He thinks about standing in that field. He thinks about the moment he understood. The law was always there. 500 iudura. The law was always clear. Nobody had enforced it. He went home from that road and started working. Not that day. Not immediately. He went home and he thought about it for 6 months. He talked to his father-in-law. He talked to Scaevola. He read everything he could find. Then he started writing the law. That was 2 years ago. The forum is quieter now. Not quiet. The forum is never quiet. But the sound from after the vote has settled. He looks at the rostra again. He is going to stand up there and read the land law. Then there will be a vote. And the law will pass. He thinks about the men who slept on forum stones to be here. He thinks about the man from Etruria whose name he does not know. He thinks about his father who served Rome for 30 years. Who died before Tiberius could ask him everything he needed to ask. He thinks about Scaevola. He saw Scaevola at the back of the forum during the vote. He looked for him and found him there, standing still, watching. He did not come forward. He did not speak. He stood at the back and watched. Tiberius had looked at him once during the 14th tribe. Scaevola had not moved. His face was the face of a man watching something he had advised against. Now accepting that it is happening. Not approval. Not condemnation. The face of a man who has done what he could do and is now watching what comes next. He filed that face. He will remember it. He thinks, the list of people who advised against this is not short. Scaevola said it clearly. The men at the commission dinner last week said it less clearly but said it. His wife's face said it in a different way. He thinks, all of them were right about the cost. He also thinks, none of them are going to stand up here and read the law. He does that. He presses his thumb joint one more time. He goes up. Chapter 14. Cornelia does not write. She hears the news before evening. She is at her desk when it comes. She does not write in the evenings normally. She writes in the mornings. Before anyone else in the house is awake. Before the light has decided what it is going to be. But today she had stayed at her desk. She had been at her desk since the middle of the afternoon. She was not writing. She was sitting with the pen. A man came. One of the men who moves between the forum and the houses of important people. He spoke to the servant at the door. The servant brought the message to her. She thanked him. She sat for a while after. The law passed. She has known this law for 2 years. She watched it become what it became. Not at the desk. Not in the writing. In the conversations that happened before the desk. The hours in the evening when Tiberius sat in her house and thought out loud and she listened. A mother does not always give advice. Sometimes she listens while someone thinks. This was one of those years. She knows what today cost. She knows Marcus Octavius. Not well. She has met him twice. He is a serious man. He is not cynical. He believes what he says. She finds this rarer than most people think and more valuable than most people acknowledge. She knows what Tiberius did to him. She knows why. She holds both of these things at the same time. She has been holding both of them for 3 months. Since Tiberius came to her and told her what he was planning. She did not tell him not to. She did not tell him to. She listened. She picks up the pen. She holds it. She does not write. There is nothing to write yet. The law passed. Men who came from half a day away and slept on forum stones will have something to show for it. The land commission will work. The numbers she has seen are right. She checked them herself. She also knows what comes next. She has been watching the Senate's silence for 3 months. Silence in the Senate is not absence of opinion. It is accumulation. It is the sound of men who are deciding how to respond and have not yet decided. She has been watching it build. The Senate did not act today. They will act. The question is when and in what form. She does not write. She goes to the window. The Palatine outside is settling into the last hour of light. The long shadows on the stone. The first cook fires from the houses below. The smell of bread and the smell of the river at the same moment. She thinks about her sons. Tiberius is 29. He moves through the world with certainty. The certainty of a man who has counted the numbers and found them right. She thinks the numbers are right. She thinks the numbers being right is not sufficient. She knows this. She knows Tiberius knows it. She knows he knows it is not sufficient and proceeded anyway. She has been a mother long enough to know what that looks like. The decision that is not wrong and may still break something. She thinks about Gaius. Gaius is 20. He is watching everything. He does not miss anything. She sometimes thinks he sees more than she does. She is not sure she has ever said this to him. She will say it when the time is right. She goes back to her desk. She picks up the pen. She sets it down. Not tonight. Tonight she will sit with what she knows. All of it. The law and what it will cost. The win and the Senate's silence. The man who walked out of the forum on his own feet. She is good at sitting with things. She learned it from her mother. Her mother was better at it. Most things her mother was better at. She sits. The lamp goes low. She does not tend it. She sits until the room is almost dark. She thinks about the word precedent. Tiberius used it with her once. He says, "I know what the precedent costs." He said it the way you say something you have accepted. She does not think he has fully accepted it. She thinks he has decided to proceed despite it. Those are different. She has watched men who did things they knew were risky. Her father was one of them. Africanus did things in his way that Tiberius is doing in his. The result of the precedent depends on what comes after. The precedent is just the first thing. What the second thing is determines everything. She thinks Gaius is the second thing. She thinks about her younger son. She has been thinking about Gaius more than she has been thinking about Tiberius. She knows Tiberius. She knows what he will do. She knows his shape. Gaius is a different shape. He is not Tiberius with different emphases. He is something new. She has been watching him become that for 20 years. She does not know what he will do with what today made possible. She knows he will do something. She knows it will be larger than today. She knows this the way you know things about your children. Not through evidence. Through watching. She goes to bed. She lies in the dark. She thinks the land law is real. She thinks the precedent is real. She thinks Tiberius held both and chose. She thinks that is what choosing is. She closes her eyes. She will write in the morning. She always writes in the morning. Before anyone is awake. Before the light has decided what it is. Chapter 15. The commission meets. 3 men. Tiberius Gracchus. Appius Claudius Pulcher. Gaius Gracchus. The 3-man land commission. They meet the morning after the vote. The meeting is in a small room near the forum. Not the Senate house. Not anything official. A room with a table and lamps and maps rolled tight against the wall. This is deliberate. Tiberius has thought about where to hold these meetings. An official building announces itself. It gives the Senate something to point at. A small room says we are working. Just working. He unrolls the first map. Etruria. The map is several years old. The surveyor marks on it are from before Tiberius was born. But the land has not moved. The ridge above Ruzelli is still in the same place. The valley below it is still in the same place. The names of the families holding the land have not changed either. Appius Claudius is 63 years old. He has been in Roman politics for longer than Tiberius has been alive. He knows every family in this city. He knows the families in every city in Italy. He knows their holdings, their connections, their debts, their grudges, their alliances. He has the particular knowledge of a man who has been watching the same people for 4 decades. Everything is filed. Everything is cross-referenced. He looks at the map. He points to a district in Etruria above the Arno. He says 3 names. He says those 3 will contest it. He says it the way a man states a fact he confirmed long ago. Tiberius says he knows. He says surveyors will be there within the month. Appius points to a second district. He says 2 names. He says these 2 will not contest publicly. They will send men to the surveyor. He says to keep records of everything. Every measurement. Every exchange of words. Every document. He says, this will go to court. He says it between discussions of geography, the way you mention something obvious. Not to alarm. To prepare. Gaius is taking notes. He has said almost nothing this morning. He is 20 years old. He is here because Tiberius brought him. He is learning. He is also doing something else. He is mapping the room. Not the physical room. The relationship room. Appius and Tiberius. Where they agree. Where they do not. What Appius says out loud and what he holds back. What the held back things might be. He writes down the names Appius mentions. He writes down the districts. He writes down the numbers. He writes down the objections Appius raises. He writes down the objections Appius does not raise. The ones he does not raise are interesting. There are 3 districts Appius does not mention. Gaius has the same map Tiberius has. He can see the same land holdings. He knows the 3 districts are there. He will ask Tiberius about this later. Appius sets down the stylus. He says the Senate will move to defund them. He says it between the map of Etruria and the question of Campania. The way you mentioned the weather. Practically. He says they will let the commission work for a month or 2. Then they will find a reason to cut the funding. They always find a reason. He says, so we should establish the pace now. He means work fast. He does not say work fast. He says establish the pace. He is 63 years old and precise in how he speaks. Tiberius says, then we establish the pace. He turns back to the map. There is land in Etruria, in Campania, in Lucania, in Apulia, in Picenum, in all of the territories that were absorbed by Rome over the past 2 centuries. The state land registers are clear. The legal limits are clear. 500 iudura per person. The excess is above the limit. It goes back. The commission's job is not complicated in principle. Measure. Verify against the register. Identify what exceeds the limit. Record the excess. Begin the redistribution. It is complicated in practice. It is complicated because 3 centuries of irregular occupation have made the registers unreliable. Because families have subdivided holdings on paper to stay below the limit. Because some registers are missing. Because some land was never registered. Because some surveyors can be persuaded to record different numbers than the ones they measured. The commission knows all of this. They will work anyway. Gaius looks at the map. Outside, the forum is doing what forums do. The morning sellers are setting up. The lawyers are crossing the square with their tablets. A dog has found something interesting near the Temple of Saturn. In this room, 3 men are planning the redistribution of land. Land that people have been waiting for more than a century to receive. The work is not dramatic. It is cadastral. It is numbers and maps and legal registers and surveyors. And the particular patience of working against people who do not want the work done. Tiberius looks at the map. He presses his thumb joint once. He thinks about what Appius said. About the Senate defunding the commission. He thinks, a month or 2. He knows what to do with a month or 2. He thinks about pace. The commission needs to establish facts on the ground before the Senate can make a legal argument. A legal challenge takes time. The challenge has to be filed. It has to be assigned. It has to be argued. All of this takes time. If the commission moves fast enough, the facts on the ground become harder to undo. Even with a legal challenge. Even with defunding. Some things, once measured and recorded, are difficult to unmeasure. He is going to move fast. He looks at the map. He thinks about the 3 districts Appius did not mention. He noticed. He did not say anything. He will ask Appius about them separately. Not in this meeting. In the meeting, Appius says what he says. He files what is not said. He has been doing this for 4 months. Filing what is not said. The Senate's silence. The things Scaevola left out. The things Gaius notices and writes down. He thinks, there is a great deal being not said around this law. He will need to understand most of it. He does not have a month or 2. He has a month or 2. He turns back to the map. He picks up the stylus. He begins. Chapter 16, Gaius Counts. Gaius Gracchus is 20 years old. He knows how to count. He learned from his mother. She counts differently. She watches a room and reads it. She reads the relationship between people. The distance between them. The things they say to each other about the things they are not saying. He learned this from her. Then he added numbers. He counts the tribes. 35 tribes. Each tribe a unit. Each unit with its internal structure. The men of influence within each tribe. Their connections to other men. Their positions on things that matter. What they want. What they can be given. He counts this the way other men count grain. Methodically. Without emotion. Noting the result. He also counts what he sees in a room. In the commission meeting he counted 3 things Appius did not mention. 3 districts. He can see them on the map. They are significant holdings. Appius knows they are there. He did not mention them. This is interesting. Gaius does not yet know why Appius left them out. There are several possibilities. He is writing them down in a separate section of his notes. He sits now in the empty commission room. The meeting is over. Tiberius and Appius have gone. He stayed. He likes the room when it is empty. The empty room holds the meeting. You can sit in it and think about what happened. He looks at the map. He traces the land holdings in Etruria with one finger. The 3 names Appius mentioned. The 3 districts Appius did not. He thinks, the Senate will defund the commission. Appius said this. Appius is right. This is obvious. He also thinks, defunding the commission is not the only thing they will do. He thinks about Octavius. What happened to Octavius will be used. Not by the Senate. By the men behind the Senate. The men who will give the Senate its argument. The argument will be, Tiberius broke the Constitution. He removed a sitting tribune. He used mob pressure to do it. He is a demagogue. He is dangerous. He must not be allowed a second term. Gaius writes this down. He writes it down because he has been thinking it since yesterday morning and wants to see it on paper. He looks at what he wrote. He thinks, they are not wrong about the argument. They are not entirely wrong. The veto was valid. Tiberius broke a rule. He broke it for the right reasons. That does not make it less broken. This is the part Tiberius does not want to think about. Gaius has noticed this. Tiberius can think about almost anything. He cannot think about the possibility that he was wrong in a way that will matter later. Gaius can think about it. He is 20 years old. He has time to think about things his brother cannot. He will need that later. He rolls the map. He takes his notes. He goes. He passes the rostra on his way home. He stops. He stands where the crowd stood yesterday. He looks at the platform. He thinks, I will stand there. He has known this since he was 12. He has known it the way you know something that is not a plan but a fact. He is not Tiberius. He does not have Tiberius's certainty about what is right. He has something different. He sees where things go. He sees the chain from action to consequence to consequence. He sees it long. He looks at the rostra. He thinks, yesterday Tiberius changed something. Not just the law. Something in the structure. Something that cannot be put back. He does not know yet if this is good or bad. He thinks it is both. He stands at the rostra for a while. He is not going to the rostra yet. He is standing in front of it, where the crowd stood. He thinks about what it felt like to stand here this morning. The 18th tribe voting. The sound the forum made. He has been at assemblies before. He knows what assembly sounds like. This was different. He has been trying to identify the difference. It is this. The crowd this morning was not celebrating a result. It was watching a thing become possible. Those are different sounds. When a vote goes the way people want it, they celebrate the result. When a rule breaks, they watch the break. They watch to see what is on the other side. The forum today watched the break. He was watching the forum watching the break. He thinks, I need to understand what that moment was. He has been told since he was a boy that the Republic is the rules. His mother says this differently. She says the Republic is the people who hold the rules. He thinks his mother is closer. The rules held today until they didn't. But people walked out of the forum still believing in the Republic. Octavius walked out believing in it. Tiberius passed the law believing in it. The rule broke. The Republic held. He is not sure how long that can continue. He thinks about what he will do. Not today. Not this year. Later. He is 20 years old. He has time. He thinks, Tiberius used the assembly to do something the Senate could not block. He thinks, the Senate will try to stop the commission. He thinks, the commission is already working. He thinks, if the commission works fast enough, facts accumulate. He thinks, facts are harder to undo than laws. He has been thinking like this since he was 15. Watching things and tracing the chain. Action to consequence to consequence. He thinks, the thing that makes today important is not the land law. The land law is important. People need land. The numbers are right. He has seen the numbers. But the important thing is the assembly. Today the assembly acted. It acted without Senate approval. It removed a tribune. It passed a law. The assembly found out what it could do. He is not sure the assembly knew before today. He thinks it needed to see itself do it. Now it has seen. He is 20 years old. He will stand at that rostra. He will need an assembly that knows what it can do. He files this. He turns. He goes home. Chapter 17. The same forum. The forum before evening. The sellers have packed up. The lawyers have crossed the square and gone wherever lawyers go at the end of the day. The crowd that was here this morning is gone. Scattered back into the city. The square is not empty. It is never fully empty. There is always a dog. There is always a man sweeping near one of the temples. There are always a few men still standing and talking at the edge of the speaking area. But it is close. Tiberius sits on the steps at the side of the rostra. He does not sit in public normally. He is usually moving. He stands or walks. He does not stop. Today he stopped. The commission meeting ended. He watched Gaius go. He watched Appius go. He stayed. He came to the steps and sat. He looks at the forum. The same stones. The same columns. The same square he has stood in every morning for 3 months. He counts the exits. The passage behind the Temple of Saturn. The street to the left. The wide way up toward the Capitoline. 3. He always counts 3. He has tried to stop. He has not stopped. He has stopped trying to stop. The light at this hour does something to the forum. The stone changes color. In the morning the forum is gray-white. In the middle of the day it is bleached. At this hour, before the sun goes fully, it turns the color of old water. A color that does not have a name but that everyone who has spent time here knows. He has spent 3 months here. He knows the color. He thinks about Octavius. He thinks about the walk. The straight back. The even pace. The 20 paces through the crowd without looking sideways. He did not make it easy for Octavius. He gave him chances to step aside. He walked to him 3 times. Each time Octavius said no. He gave him the chances. Octavius took the no. He thinks, I cannot ask for more than that. He thinks, Scaevola said do it cleanly. He did it as cleanly as it could be done. He presses his thumb joint. The forum is making its evening sounds. The cart's coming back now that the restriction is lifted. Iron on stone. A seller who left something behind and is coming back for it. 2 men still arguing about something at the far edge. He looks at the rostra. He reads the law from up there. He removes a tribune from up there. He passes the land law from up there. 3 things in one morning. He does not know yet what the Senate will do. He does not know yet what Octavius will do. He knows what Scaevola said. The precedent will outlast the law. He thinks, maybe. He thinks, the land is also real. The men who slept on the forum stones are also real. The numbers are right. He checked them 4 times. He thinks, I made a decision. He does not know if it was the right decision. He thinks it was necessary. He thinks necessary and right are not always the same thing. He will find out which this was. He thinks about the men of the Senate who were not here today. They were in their houses. Some of them were at the Senate house. They met. He knows they met. He knows what they said. He does not know exactly what they said. He knows the shape of it. They said, a tribune was removed. They said, the assembly did it. They said, this cannot happen again. They said, what do we do next? He does not know what next is. He knows next is coming. The Senate's silence today was not acceptance. It was the silence of men who are deciding. He presses his thumb joint one more time. He stands. He looks at the forum. The light is almost gone. The stone is the color it gets in the last 10 minutes. The dog is gone. The man with the broom is gone. The 2 men arguing have resolved it or given up. The square holds the last of the light. He turns. He walks home. The Tiber is out there. He cannot see it. He knows the direction. He can smell the mud. It was here before the law. It was here before the tribunate. It was here before Rome knew how to build the things it built. It will be here after. He walks. Writer's note. I do not read Tiberius as a revolutionary. I watch him sit on the forum steps and count the exits. He counts them every time he enters a space. In the camps, in the forum, in the Senate. It is a habit from Numantia. He cannot stop. He has stopped trying. He removed a tribune from office. He knows what the precedent costs. He passed the law anyway. I watch him sit in the empty forum and press his thumb joint. Not celebration. Something quieter than that. The forum does not know what year it is. The stone does not know what happened here today. He does. Next time, October. the Capitoline Hill, the rooftops, and something that should not be in someone's hand.